Hey, Sal. How are you? Y'all, I'm trying to get my notes. Baby, this shit here. Mm. This one is really, really real. This one is really, really real. Hey, Yvette. Greetings. Greetings. I'm just trying to get my notes together. Um, this one, y'all, um, this subject matter right here, it went a little deeper than I had anticipated, but I think I got some good stuff. I think I got some good stuff for you all. Oh, Michael, there's. Oh my God! History has been made. Unknown Gaming finally decided to come to class. Unknown, how the hell are you? It's good to see you, baby. Look it. I've been so worried about you. You've been making me go gray. You've been making me go gray. Let me get my. Hey, unknown special guest. I know, right? Unknown. We just miss you. We love you. We miss you. That's all, baby. That's all. We just miss you, baby. I've been rough. I missed a lot. I've been rough, but I'm coming back. Better late than not, honey. And on time. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You guys, you know what? I'm here to tell you. I cannot wait. I cannot wait until like I'm able to get a really decent computer and a nice camera because we could do something to where like it could be more interactive, you know, and you guys could come up and all of that. And we've missed you too. We've missed you too, Unknown. We've missed you too, baby. Y'all, now this thing wants to act up. Come on, no, 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 no. Y'all, I'm working off my old phone and this and this 12-year-old iPad, honey. And the iPad is how I'm able to see you guys. So I'm trying. She giving me the flux right now. I'm actually using the iPad as a monitor. Miss Jones, Miss Jones, Miss Jones. Greeting, my love. Greeting, greeting, greeting. Um, where's my tower? I gotta get my tower. Y'all, so hey, please hit the like. Please hit the like. If you new, subscribe, do all that stuff. We're gonna be talking about that plantation that burned. Um, well, I'm looking for these cards. Let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. Um, and once you get the laptop or PC, the right camera, so oh yes, honey, yes, we gonna be ready. We definitely gonna be ready. Unknown, you all in the chat, in the chat. Please tell me your thoughts on that plantation burning. Whatever it is, just put your thoughts in there, darling. I gotta find my cards, and we're gonna be ready. We're gonna be ready for this. No one's got any thoughts on that plantation burning? Anyone? Oh, honey, it was the unknown. It was one of the last antebellum plantations. God's will. Okay, I think it was poetic. What comes down, it's a metaphor, spiritual. Yep. Yeah. Oh, Yvette. I mean, listen, Yvette. Everybody's going through some bullshit right now, so it's hard. It's hard to keep up with what's going down, and what have you. But I'm gonna get you all together because I'm gonna tell you something. I definitely had my thoughts, and maybe it's because of like where my mindset is at. But listen, when the Cathedral of Notre Dame, when that burned, I felt that was some high symbolism there. But with this plantation burning, baby, yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot going on. That was a lot going on. Honestly, I just hope no one was hurt. Structures are temporary ones like pros and cons, dark places, but also reminds us of history. Amen. Amen. Oh, I see unknown. He may have missed some classes, but he came prepared this time. He came prepared today. Yep. 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 So, y'all, while I'm looking for my card, let me say this. So the photograph that I used, the photograph that I used. First off, how many people? We got 11 people up in here. We got 11 people up in here. Y'all, please hit the like, and if you're new, please subscribe to the channel. Um, um, y'all, do y'all before we begin, do y'all want to do a prayer? You want to do a group prayer for the 5-day work cycle, or should we just get into it? Whatever you want to do, you let me know whatever you want to do. I gotta find my 8 of Cups. Martha says yes. Oh, okay. All right. All right. All right. All right, y'all. We're gonna get into it because I'm not gonna keep you all long. I'm not gonna keep you all long. It is a school night, and my moderators, they're here, for the subject matter. Okay. Um. All right. Today is Monday, the 19th. Here we go. All right. All right. Let's go. Oh, y'all, give me a second. Give me a second. Shit, I'm just. Give me a second, y'all. I didn't even sanctify my area. Give me one sec. I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second, y'all. Okay. All right. 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 Here we go. Come on, Palo Santo. Come on, Palo Santo. And you want to know something, you guys? I'm not doing this just for dramatic effects. The subject matter that we're going to be talking about is a little heavy. It's a little heavy, and I've already had a very busy day. I do not like dealing with people as much as I do, and so like my reserves are low. So there we go. I definitely I definitely want a little bit of protection. All right, y'all. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right, y'all. All right, here we go. Infinite Spirit, we gather as one, focused, faithful, and fired up for the 5-day work cycle that's in front of us. We speak this with power. Let our work flow easy. Let our steps be guided. Let our efforts multiply in divine alignment. We're not forcing it, we're flowing with it. We let go of burnout. We let go of confusion and the lie that we have to struggle to succeed. That is not our truth. We welcome focus. We welcome clarity. We welcome divine favor in every move that we make. Together, we affirm that we are ready, we are rooted, and we are rising. Doors open, ideas land, and energy stays high. What we need shows up right on time. No delays and no detours. This cycle is blessed. This cycle is sacred. And the vision is already unfolding. It's done, it's real, and so it is, and so it is, and so it is. All right. All right. All right. So y'all, on May 15th, 4 days ago, in conjunction with all the other bullshit that we got going on in the world, this plantation, it's hey, really pie, mama, this shit happened in your backyard. This plantation, baby, you missed the prayer, but do the replay, baby. So, Nottoway Plantation. It was also known as Nottoway Resort. This was a yeah, I know you are, baby. This was a monumental Greek revival mansion, and it was near White Castle, Louisiana. And it was originally constructed. Oh, see, this is why I need my notes. It was originally constructed in 1859. It was originally constructed in 1859 for John Hampton Randolph. And this encompassed over 53,000 square feet. It held the distinction of being the largest antebellum plantation home in the American South until the fire came and got it on May 15th. And despite the loss of the main house, several of the outbuildings and historical structures on this 15-acre estate, those remained preserved. And this was designed by an architect. His name was Henry Howard Nottoway. Henry Howard, I'm sorry. Nottoway was a landmark listed in the U.S. National Registry of Historical Places. So, like I said, on May 15th, this place burned to the ground. And again, at that point, it was one of the... Y'all, wait a minute. Can you hear the sirens? Can you hear the sirens? It's as if Universal Mind is giving me sound effects for this. So, despite the efforts of like a lot of fire departments, the structure was lost. Some people, they mourn the loss of a historical building, And others views this destruction as a symbolic reckoning with a very painful past. Going back to what Mr. Michael Stevens said in the chat. So, Nottoway Plantation was more than just a grand mansion. It was a symbol of antebellum Southern's wealth. It was built on the backs of enslaved individuals. Again, it was located near White Castle, Louisiana, and the plantation encompassed over 6,000 acres at its peak. 6,000 acres. So the mansion itself, are you ready for this? 64 rooms, 165 doors, and it was constructed using what they called virgin cypress wood and handmade bricks. Its grandeur, it stood as like a testament to the labor and the suffering of 155 enslaved people who built and maintained it. Now, I don't know if you all know this, but the White House that we have today, all built by slaves. Just throwing it out there. John Hampton Randolph, he was born in Virginia in 1813, and he was a prominent planter, and he moved to Louisiana in 1840, and he married Emily Jane Liddon in 1837, and he had 11 children. Let me say this, with 11 children, it's clear that John did not have Netflix or anything like that. John put that thing on ice. Shit. Randolph devoted most of his time to the cotton plantation, but believing that growing sugarcane and producing sugar would be more lucrative, he decided to move his family to southern Louisiana in 1842. He purchased 1,650 acres of cotton plantation, and he named Forest home. He converted that plantation to a new crop 2 years later and constructed, I think it's called Libreville's Parish. Really, Pie, let me know if I'm saying that right, or phonetically break it out for me. But it was the first steam-powered sugarcane mill. And Randolph was able to triple his earnings over the cotton production. And within 10 years, Randolph had increased his holdings to 7,116 acres and acquired 176 enslaved people. Iberville. Thank you, love. Iberville. Y'all, if you don't have a Cajun princess on your side, I highly suggest you get one. Okay? So, within 10 years, again, he had acquired 176 enslaved people, making him one of the more prominent slave owners of the southern United States. And in 1855, Randolph purchased an additional 400 acres of highland, and then 620 acres of swamp from the Mississippi riverfront land. And he was going to build a more prestigious home, and that he named Nottoway, after Nottoway County, Virginia, where he was born. There's a painting by Cornelia Randolph showing the original garden landscape. You can find that on the internet. But Randolph had ordered his slaves to build his house. This is where our story begins. He did lay out the design. He also designed the neighboring Belle Grove. That's now destroyed. That was another home. Randolph and the owner of Belle Grove, John Andrews, they were known to have like this rivalry of sorts that even extended to their homes. And so, compiling all of the materials for his plantation home, cypress logs that were cut and they were cured underwater for 6 years, and then they were cut into planks and then dried into what is called virgin cypress. So Like even before this was done, like you had preparations before the actual building was done. Old boy was yanking and banking his money, and he was collecting human beings at the same time. So handmade bricks, they were baked in kilns, these ovens by enslaved people, African Americans. And there were over 40 carpenters. There were brick masons, plumbers. Plumbers were hired by the architect Howard, who lived. They all lived in tents at the construction site while they was doing the work. So this massive home was completed in 1859. Now they started in 1855, and in 4 years they were able to finish this home. Now I want you to think about this. I want you to think about it. He at his peak, he had 176 slaves. Now they were not all there just building that home. You got to remember, they were also harvesting the sugar cane. So when you got done in the field, hot ass field, doing your sugar cane, you got to come over here and build this motherfucker's house at the same time. So let me say this. I get irritated when I got to do a double job. And this is with all the modern conveniences. Don't make me hot, and don't break my back, and don't dehumanize me, which is all these things that these people had to endure. But yet they did it, and they built this bastard's house. I digress. So, the mansion was built entirely by slave labor, who not only constructed the main houses but the surrounding building necessary for the plantation operation. So it wasn't, they just didn't build his house. They had to build everything else that was around them. So life as an enslaved person at Nottoway, I mean, right off the bat, we already know that it was marked by relentless labor and to say the very least, hardship. They were in the fields for the sugar cane, and they operated the plantation's steam-powered sugar mills, and then they had to perform countless others tasks just to maintain the estate. So their skills and labor were the foundation on which Randolph's wealth and the plantation grandeur, it was all built on the backs of these enslaved people. So despite their crucial role in this mansion's coming to, very little, their lives were subjected to brutality, and it was just part of the realities of slavery at that day. And they never got any type of recognition. There was never any kind of reprieve. So following the Civil War, the Emancipation Proclamation, it was a transition from slavery to freedom, and that had its challenges too. Now at Nottoway, 53 formerly enslaved people, they decided to stay and work under those labor contracts, and those labor contracts offered minimum wage and rations. So why would they stay? Why would these 53 enslaved people stay? And this goes to talk about the harsh realities of post-emancipation life for many Black Americans. They were legally free. They were legally free after the 13th Amendment. Formerly enslaved people, like those at the Nottoway Plantation, they often had very few real choices, and this is probably the reason why they continue to work for this man that once enslaved them. Number one, right off the bat, lack of resources. They had no land, they had no money, they had no housing, no tools. Freedom didn't come with reparations, just the legal end of slavery, and many were left entirely on their own. Number two, restrict movements. Back in those days, even though they were free, they had these things called black codes. In southern states, they were severely limited in their mobility. they had very little rights, and there were very few employment opportunities for freed people, for freed slaves. So, and then they put up these vagrancy laws and made it illegal to be unemployed, effectively forcing many of these people to accept like these labor arrangements that at best were exploitive. Speaking about exploitation, the economic exploitation. Plantation owners like Randolph, they offered wages. They offered wages that were barely enough to survive. There was barely enough to survive. Or used sharecropping contracts, and it trapped the workers in debt. Because these people, if you had to pay for the seeds, you had to pay for your equipment, all of that stuff, and these slave owners would make it at such an exorbitant price that to make a long story short, they were freed by name only. That was it. That was it. And then like Mr. Stevens said, because that's all they knew. Well, unfortunately, some choose to stay with these family members because they remained to protect each other. These slaves, they did have families, and as long as they were together, maybe they thought that they could make the best out of it. But this is why those 53 people stayed. So while they were no longer enslaved by law, in practice, many were still under the system designed to maintain like white supremacy and economic dependency. And it was a continuation of control under a new name. I wanted to lay all that out. Before we get into. Hold on, y'all. I need a date. There it is. In 1866, the Freedmen's Bureau facilitated a 1-year contract where workers received $8 per month plus weekly rations. And by 1873, a system shifted into sharecropping, where laborers kept a third of the sugarcane that they raised. But, again, they had to take care of the cost of the seeds, the supplies, and again, leading them into like economic bondage. Kind of like what we got today with credit. We kind of got that day, with credit. With that being said, I want to now we're going to get into the spiritual stuff. All right, I wanted to bring down my cards. Okay, so when I saw that plantation go up in flames off the bat, I saw the tower. We got it right here. The tower is the symbol of divine disruption. A crumbling tower, lightning striking, figures falling. Traditionally, this card is sudden destruction, divine intervention, the collapse of a false structure. But it's more. You got to read more into that. It represents a breakthrough via a breakdown. Trauma unhealed becomes trauma repeated. And the fire may feel tragic, but spiritually, it clears the energy of suppression and denial. So when I thought about that plantation burning and I thought about this card, for me, this card, it represented that what is false cannot last. And what is rooted in oppression will be undone. It will be undone. The next one was judgment. This was when it comes to the plantation burning, to me, this was a symbol of the ancestors' calling. You got the angel trumpeting, all of that. This card traditionally represents, resurrection, accountability, karmic reckoning, you know, but it also represents, generational trauma surfacing for healing. The voices of the past are not stuck. They're calling us to liberate them through our awareness. And you got to remember something, y'all. Nothing buried remains hidden forever. All energy returns to the source for resolution. We got the Eight of Cups. We got the Eight of Cups right here. The Eight of Cups. And when it comes to this, excuse me, y'all, when it comes to this plantation burning, this is a spiritual departure. You've got a figure walking away from full cups under the moonlight, leaving behind what no longer serves us. It's a spiritual awakening. This represents the inner urge to walk away from comfort if it's built on suffering. The enslaved who stayed were not spiritually trapped. They were waiting for someone to speak their names. Oh, shit. Give me a second. Okay. Ooh. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, y'all. Okay. Okay. Whew. So, so when I saw that plantation burning, for me, without and the information that I just said right now, I learned this today while I was coming home from work. Oh, baby, that yeah. Michael, thank you. I'm not ashamed. I just got to get through this. Um, when that shit happens, that's, to me, that's sacred ground because it's the truth meeting my spirit. So, uh, you know, I, I don't have that luxury right now. I got to get through this. But thank you. Thank you for seeing me. Okay. So, when I saw the fire, I was like, could this fire be ancestral energy rising to reclaim this stolen ground? Could this be an ancestral, energetic reckoning? I do know this, y'all. I do know this. What is built on blood cannot stand forever. Energy that is rooted in oppression carries a spiritual debt. Sometimes fire doesn't just destroy, it purifies and it clears space for a rebirth. I saw that fire consume that place, and I just thought of, like, fallen idols and this false grandeur. The grandeur of that mansion was built on human suffering. And the fall of it reveals the truth behind the illusion of this southern gentility. What's lost when like the symbols of like opulence are built on injustice and goes up in flame? You know what happens? The truth remains. And that, and that's where I put it away. But that's where I got that tower. That the destruction was necessary. It was shocking, but it was also freeing. The next thing that was coming through my mind was like this, the sacred land and returning back to Mother Earth. And there was like, what if the land itself that mansion was built on, what if the earth itself was it wanted to get rid of the burden of that trauma, and it released the energy through that fire. The land remembers. The fire may be a form of like a divine reclamation. And then I mean, at the end of the day, when all of this comes through, we're talking about karma. We're talking about cycles and a collective consciousness. You know, was was this fire a symbol of a broader collapse of power that was built on harm? Nothing that is rooted in injustice escapes any kind of spiritual accountability. Shit, I cooked on that one. I gotta say it again for me. Nothing rooted in injustice escapes spiritual accountability. Shit. So, as I was looking, as I was preparing, I knew that I was going to come up with some stories from the internet about this place being haunted. You cannot have something like that without having hauntings. So there's a story about a little girl in the grand ballroom. There's a story about a little slave boy that was on the back porch. No, on the front porch. I'm sorry, on the front porch. There were some paranormal investigators, and they were like walking around the land, and they heard like a bell. There was no bell. There was no bell. But this is what they were. This is what they were at. And so when I saw that, I put it on my Facebook, and I said, the spirits and the ancestors are finally free. But I wanted to share with you like the understanding of a quote unquote haunting through spiritual terms. Traditionally, a haunting, it's perceived as like a lingering presence of spirits or ghosts. However, in spirituality, a spirituality perspective, hauntings represent the residual energy of unresolved trauma or injustice. The pain and suffering that was endured by enslaved people at this plantation. They've left their imprint on the land, and it was a collective consciousness, and these energetic imprints serve as a call for acknowledgement, for healing, and for transformation. So once again, what is a haunting? Again, a haunting traditionally, it's often described as a no. Unknown asks, you think they'll tear down the remains of it after the fire? No, no. I believe those, they are historic. I mean, again, everything that I said was true, but they are historic landmarks. you know um but the bastardization of this came not as a monument to see what humans can do to other human beings and what they could make, but it was like, oh, you can go have a wedding there and all of that. And while everybody else is being joyful and enjoying this mansion and stuff like that, no one is acknowledging as they walk through the doors what, the blood, sweat, and tears and lives that you know took to make this thing. So I think that they will keep the remaining unknown. I believe that they will keep the remaining, but I think that these remaining structures will now have a new, they'll have a new definition, of it. So, again, going back to like the haunting thing, In traditional terms, a haunting is described like as a spirit or a lingering presence, but it's a memory or an energy that hasn't found peace. It could be tied to a location, a person, or repeating cycle of emotion, of fear, of grief, of anger, of guilt. But like, in spirituality, a haunting isn't just about the ghost, it's about imprinted consciousness. A haunting can be understood by an energetic echo, an unresolved thought form, especially those that are charged with trauma, with oppression, or with injustice. And listen, and let's face it, slavery as a source of haunting, absolutely. Slavery as a source of haunting, absolutely. Slavery wasn't just about physical bondage. It was psychologically, it was a psychological fragmentation, breaking their minds. It was an erasure of their emotions. It was spiritual suppression. And these energies don't simply disappear. When masses of people are dehumanized, when masses of people are forced into labor, when masses of people are stripped of identity, when they are denied mourning, or when they are disconnected from their family, from their lineage, it creates a spiritual imprint on the land, in these buildings, and in these bloodlines. Yeah, yeah, no, I would have to agree. I would have to agree. Unknown said, yeah, I was just wondering what they were going to do after the fire. It's probably pretty brittle and hazardous now. More than likely, unknown, more than likely, and they would probably do things to preserve it and just use it as monuments. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it would be feasible for people to walk through them or anything like that. But just a physical reminder, of what went down. So going back spiritually, in spirituality, a haunting is not a punishment. It's a persistent prayer. It's an energy that says, give me a second. It's an energy that says, see me and hear me, acknowledge me, free me. It's the subconscious that's made visible through emotion and memories and sensations or experiences. Fuck. Excuse me, y'all. Oh, shit. Sorry. So places like Nottoway, the walls, they may still whisper because no one truly listened to them. Fuck. Oh. Okay. Whew. All right. Well, now that I embarrassed myself to shit, um, chat, what say you? What y'all got to say in the chat? Oh, shit. Alrighty then. No, I got nothing to say. Oh, thank you, Yvette. Thank you, Yvette. That came out of nowhere. So, um, on my way home, on my way home, we got 14 people here. We got 14 people here. And I made a prayer for the souls at Nottoway. And so um, if y'all join me to help me release them, yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you, Unknown. I like to try to keep it together. I like to try to keep it together, and that this happened 4 days ago. This happened 4 days ago, but it just would not leave my mind. And I, you know, I wanted to share my insights, but really, really, if truth be told, I wanted to get this off my chest. Hopefully, to let it go. But um, I took my time with this prayer. And again, it is for the people, it is for the souls at Nottoway that just were not recognized. So let's get into this. Okay. Hold on. I gotta read it. I gotta read it on my phone. Okay, here it goes. Whew. Shit. Here we go. All right. Spirit of truth, spirit of fire, we call on you now, and we honor the hands that built, we honor the backs that bent, and the voices that were silenced, and we say you are not forgotten. Let this fire burning be a cleansing, not of rage, but of remembrance. Let the smoke carry our prayers to the skies, where the ancestors wait with wisdom and watching eyes. We declare what was bound is now free. What was hidden is now being revealed. And what was once a monument of pain is now an altar of awakening. We are the voice of our ancestors, and we are the fire of transformation, and we are the healing that begins where truth is told. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Shit. Well, y'all, that was it. That was it. So, go check out, you know, go check out, whatever you can about that plantation. Thank you for allowing me to share with y'all. Um, I hope y'all learned something. Um, yeah, that was it. Shit. All right. Unknown. Thank you. It's always so good to see you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's okay to be emotional. This is important. Historical impact. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you all. We good? Everyone in the chat good? Thank you, Yvette. Thank you, Martha. Good night, Martha. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Thank you for allowing me to share. Y'all have a good night. Good night, Mr. Stevens. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Thank you, Unknown. As always, good to see you. All right, y'all. Stay blessed, everybody. Thank you.